As you saw, new Labour list MP Kelvin Davis was at the hui. He says he's on a mission to fight physical, emotional and sexual violence against both children and women. He joins me now. Tēnā koe, Kelvin.
Kia ora, Scotty.
So this has been a tough issue for you to take on. Why?
Well, it's partly personal. But I think I let kids down when I was the principal of Kaitaia Intermediate School because I knew there was an issue in our community, and like it said on the show, I should have, could have, would have done something, but I didn't. And
why didn't you?
Well, we had a hui where I called in a heap of principals and support agencies from the community, and I said, look, this is the issue, let's blow it out of the water. And they said, well, are we prepared for what's going to fall out of the woodwork? Have you thought about that? And I went, oh, no, I haven't. Oh, we'll reconvene and, I'll have a think about it. And I never reconvened that meeting. And then, 5 or 6 years later, James Parker drops out of the woodwork. We know the damage he has done to our community, and I hold myself as a leader of the community responsible for actually not doing something when I knew there was a problem.
Why are existing programs to combat this kind of issue not working?
I think we tend to over-intellectualise things. We need to just be blunt about what's happening, and men have to keep their hands to themselves, basically. Let's not blame colonisation and say, look, this is all the Pākehā's fault because James Cook turned up in 17, whatever it was. This is about men now making bad decisions and not having enough control. There's also... it's not just men who are sexual abusers, women are as well, but 90% of sexual abuse is from men. And as a man, I feel I have to stand up and say something now.
Do you think Māori communities are more vulnerable to this kind of thing? Because, maybe it's people who think that, these kind of predators think that Māori children are more vulnerable, they're in poorer communities, they're less equipped to be able to defend themselves against this kind of predatory.
Maybe Māori communities are more vulnerable, but sexual abuse occurs across all ethnicities. And that's why I say we can't hold colonisation up as the reason why sexual abuse occurs. It occurs because men make bad decisions. Is
this going to be an issue that you're going to take to Parliament with you? You're going to be back in Parliament within the next few weeks. Is this going to be an issue that you're going to champion when you get back into Parliament? Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's something that needs to happen, and a lot of women have been saying to me since I've come out about sexual abuse, they've said it's about time. And, women have been carrying this burden by themselves largely, except for some good men like Russell Smith and others. But in the large, women have been carrying this burden by themselves, and it's about time somebody used their position as a platform to do something about it.
It's interesting you say that women have been sort of championing the cause at the moment around sexual abuse, because a lot of the criticism's been aimed at some of our rangatira on our marae who tend not to remain silent when this kind of issue emerges amongst their communities. Would you challenge those rangatira and tell them, like yourself, to make a stand on the issue and come out and against it? Yeah,
I'd love to see more men stand up about this, and particularly our kaumātua and our leaders. But, we have to also challenge the irony of our pōwhiri practices where we say, women, sit behind us men because there may be some unseen threat from across the marae, and yet 1 in 3 Māori women are actually unsafe in their own homes. And that, to me, is wrong. So this isn't about, let's change the pōwhiri. This is about let's address the irony and even the hypocrisy of some of our cultural practices.
Now, as I mentioned, in the next few weeks, you're going back into Parliament for Labour. What's happening in the Tamaki Makaurau seat with Labour? When are you working out a candidate for Tamaki Makaurau? I believe at 5 o'clock today, is it? The submissions closed for that particular bit?
What needs to happen is TV New Zealand needs to get this report out so that we can actually have a look at it.
So is it going to be Shane Taurima just because you're saying...
Well, I'm not going to spill any beans, but look, TV New Zealand needs to get their report out so that the Labour Party can have a good look at it and we can make decisions from